I better find your loving. I better find your heart. I better find your loving. I better find your heart. I better find, give all my love and love.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. OhSheReads here, and in today's video I want to share with you some of the goodies I got from the library. My library was having a library sale and I definitely took advantage of that. And also I was there in the first place because one of my books that I got in my previous library haul, which I will link right now in this video, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, was due back to the library and it failed my renewal test. Someone had put a request in on it, so I had to take it back. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to read it before I returned it, which, you know, is kind of the risk that you take when you check out so many books and just hope to renew them. So I definitely will try and finish that read soon. That definitely was part of my TBR for the Rainbow Readathon, which I really failed on that one. I'm contemplating actually pulling down the video that I did for the TBR because I ended up not being able to participate in the Rainbow-thon. I just had way too much going on last week and I just wasn't able to read any of the books. So I might private that video or delete it altogether. But that's a side note. Basically I wasn't able to read Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl before I took it back. But while I was at the library, I did manage to take advantage of the library sale, and of course I checked out more books. Of course. First, I want to show you guys the books I got from the library sale. I'm really excited about these. I only spent $6 and I got 3 books. Oh, it's so amazing. First off is a book that I cannot explain to you the feelings and the emotions that went through me when I saw this book there. And it's not because of the book itself, but because of the edition. And this is Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. And this edition is near and dear to my heart. This is the edition that I first read this story in, and I just remember my 10-year-old self walking into a Barnes & Noble and picking this up. I don't know why I was drawn particularly to this cover. I cannot tell you. And I'd never heard of Jane Austen or read any Jane Austen. This was my introduction to Jane Austen, and my 10-year-old self just fell in love. I remember reading this book and struggling with the verbiage because, like I said, I was 10 years old, and I read this book with a dictionary next to me and a highlighter, and I highlighted the words I could not understand and looked them up in the dictionary. It took me such a long time to actually get through this and read it, but once I was done, I did not have a complete and full understanding of the story, but I completely fall in love with Austen's writing and her ability to create lovable characters. So the fact that I was able to find this edition, I mean, it's amazing. They don't make this anymore, and my mind is just blown how serendipitous this was. Is that the right way to say serendipitous? Serendipitous? Yes, how serendipitous this was. And it's just amazing how things like this work. How what goes around truly does come around in the best ways possible. The next book I picked up is actually a read that is on the list of one of my most anticipated reads of 2015, and that book is Moby Dick by Herman Melville. Now this is a monster in more ways than one. Page count as well as just general understanding of the story. From what I've heard from others, this is a very difficult novel to read and to get through, but from everyone who's read it, I've heard that it's well worth it, and I've never come across anyone who regretted actually attempting to read this book. I'm fascinated by the story, and I just am really, really eager to finally get my hands on this book and to start the journey of understanding why this is such a classic. And the last book I purchased is actually a sequel of a book I already own but have not read yet. And this sequel is The Rosie Effect by Graham Simpson, or Simpson. I need to look up how to pronounce this author's name, but that's besides the point. I have heard great things about the Rosie Project, which I picked up back in March in my huge March Madness haul that had 7 full complete parts, and you can definitely watch it whenever you want. I will link that playlist here in this video, but I am eager to get to that one and get to the sequel as well. I didn't really have purchasing the sequel in the forefront of my mind, but when I saw it at the library sale for only $3, I couldn't pass it up, y'all. So these are the 3 books that I got as a part of the library sale, and now let's move on to the rest of this haul. First up is a book that I've been curious about ever since I heard about it on Amarie's channel, and this is Vide by M.T. Anderson. And this is kind of a book that takes place in a future in our world where everyone has these like feeds, these computer feeds connected to the back of their necks. I believe it's connected to the back of their necks. And it's kind of like you have this permanent computer access in your brain at all times, feeding you all the information you could possibly ever want. Think of a 24-hour Google access in your brain. So this kid's ability to read, write, has been completely obliterated by his feed, a transmitter implanted directly into his brain. Feeds are a crucial part of life for Titus and his friends. After all, how else would they know where to party on the moon, how to get bargains at Weatherby and Crotch, or how to accessorize the mysterious lesions everyone's been getting? But then, Titus meets Violet, a girl who cares about what's happening to the world and challenges everything Titus and his friends hold dear. A girl who decides to fight the feed. This is a winner of the Los Angeles Times Book Prize and a National Book Award finalist. Next up, I have a book by one of my absolute favorite authors of all time, and that is Meet the Austins by Madeleine L'Engle. How do you pronounce her last name? I actually think it's L'Engle, but we'll go with L'Engle. Nah, let's go with L'Engle. Madeleine L'Engle. And she wrote the Wrinkle in Time quartet, which, actually no, it's a quintet, which I love and need to finish. I've only read A Wrinkle in Time. Gotta get on that. But this is the beginning of the Austen family chronicles, and I've read A Ring of Endless Light. It was one of my favorite books when I was growing up, and that is book 3 in the series, or book 4. I'm not quite sure, but this is the first one that introduces us to the Austen family. Next up, I have a classic, and this is The Fall of the House of Usher and Other Stories by Edgar Allan Poe. And I have really been craving some Poe lately, so this hits the spot. I read Poe's works first back in elementary school, specifically in 4th and 5th grade, and before you panic about how disturbing and morbid that type of reading is for a child of that age, I read the abridged works. All the stories I read were abridged, so I've never actually read, the full stories. So when I saw this, I had to pick it up because I cannot wait to get back into his twisted mind and finally be able to read the full stories that came out of this guy's brain. Next up is a book I've never heard of but really caught my eye and intrigued me, and that is There Will Come a Time by Carrie Arkose. And this is a book about grief. This is a book about a boy named Mark who's lost his twin sister and he is grieving her. He just can't seem to get over it. And then his twin sister Grace, her best friend Hannah, is trying to kind of relate to him and say, hey, I know what you're going through. But he just doesn't think that she can fully understand what it's like to lose your twin. As a way to remember Grace, Hannah convinces Mark to complete Grace's bucket list from her journal. So this is definitely going to be amazing. I just feel it. Next up, I have a Sarah Dessen book that I was shocked to realize that I haven't read, and I didn't even know that it existed. This is What Happened to Goodbye by Sarah Dessen. This is about a girl who's constantly moving. Ever since her parents divorced, her and her father seem to move quite frequently, and she enjoys actually reinventing herself and coming up with a new persona in each new place that she lives. So this girl has no ties and seems to form no lasting connections with people. She's used to wearing a mask and pretending to be somebody she's not. In fact, she's pretended to be so many people that she doesn't actually know who she is anymore. But of course, she's gonna move somewhere where she's gonna meet a boy that's going to challenge all of her notions. Can't wait. Next up is a book I picked up because of the cover, and I just really felt the need to want to support a book like this, and that is A Song for Bijou by Josh Farrar, or Farrar, I'm not quite sure. And this is an interracial love story that is also a middle grade novel. Once I saw the cover, I just knew I had to pick it up. This is about a boy who falls for a girl immediately right when she moves to his school. She has come from Haiti. This is after devastating earthquakes in Haiti, and she's really trying to start over and to move on from such a huge, immense tragedy in her life. So you have Alex, who's trying to woo Bijou and win her over, and it's kind of like a cross-cultural type of novel as well. She's Haitian and he's having to learn about her culture, and she's having to learn about American culture and how to assimilate into this new society. I cannot wait, and the fact that this is a middle grade novel really excites me, you guys. And last, I picked up 2 books that are part of a series that I've never heard of. The first book is called A Beautiful Dark by Jocelyn Davies. The second book is A Fractured Light. From what I understand, this is about a young girl named Sky. On her 17th birthday, she meets 2 mysterious strangers. She doesn't know who they are or what they want from her. And of course, as you can guess, they are 2 gorgeous boys. What else is new, y'all? These boys are kind of stalking her, which I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. But there's definitely a mystery here, and she's trying to figure out why they are following her every move and who they are. In the dead of a bitingly cold Colorado winter, Sky finds herself coming to terms with the impossible secret that threatens to shatter her world. Torn between Asher, who she can't help falling for, and Devin, who she can't stay away from, the consequences of Sky's choice will reach further than the 3 of them could ever imagine. I have to admit, I'm kind of been in a YA fantasy kick ever since I read the Starcross series, and I don't know, I'm just drawn to these, and I hope they're good. I haven't heard anything about them. If you've read them or know anything about them, please let me know in the comments. And that is it. These are all the books that I picked up and bought at the library today, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!